Welcome to another Scene World video. This time we have a very special book review with Merman, because Merman is the co-author of ARCADE Imperfect from Golem Books, written by Jerry Ellis and Andrew Fisher. So a little bit of history first. Back in 2006, Andrew Rawlings of Hive Books released his ZX Spectrum book featuring over 200 games. I was asked to write the follow-up on the Commodore 64, and Jerry Ellis wrote the 8-bit book looking at other 8-bit formats, including some less well-known games. So, a few years ago, Jerry wrote his next book, The Book of the Game of the Film, looking at film tie-ins, which also then looked at games based on books, comics, TV series and toys. And this is Jerry's third title now. It says Arcade Imperfect by Jerry Ellis and Andrew Fisher. The dream of being able to play accurate conversions of all the latest arcade games tantalised 8-bit home computer owners throughout the 80s, without ever quite coming true. Nevertheless, stripped-down ports of hundreds of classic coin-ops still ended up bracing many a grateful gamer's library. Insert coin, press start, and read the whole story here. T's ready, player one. As you see, Golem Books. So, at the back of the book is my bio here. Andrew Fisher's fiery passion for video games was ignited on a steamy summer's day in 1983. When you first encountered the sleek black cabinet, bright lights and daunting tones of Golf, and the embracing cockpit, snazzy artwork and whining engines of pole position at Great Yarmouth's Joyland Arcade. He hasn't stopped playing games and writing about them ever since. So at the front of the book, Jerry Ellis. Jerry Ellis keeps telling himself that he'll write a novel one day, but so far he has yet to progress beyond his triptych of retro gaming missives: the 8-bit book, the book of the game of the film, and Arcade Imperfect. He somehow managed to pen a screenplay for a submarine spoof, entitled Substandard, when he was studying at the New York Film Academy in 2003, but it wasn't good enough, so it sank. So you can see this copy is signed by Jerry, and it will be signed by me. The Space Heroes page, based on Space Harrier high score table, for those who pre-ordered, goes on the back. So there's 160 names there, people who pre-ordered, and one or two special people as well. So that's a good way. And of course we should go back and mention the fantastic cover artwork by Oli Frey. Oli, of course, best known for his work on the Newsfeel magazines, and I'm honoured to be part of the News app with his artwork on the cover. And as you can see, we've got Space Harrier on the left, and a Rastan style game on the right, and a gamer in the middle playing, and the little boy playing the game here is based on Jerry's son. So let's have a look into the book itself. Thanks to AF for chipping in when the chips are down. So, the contents page, insert coin, the introduction, part 1, A Space Invaders Odyssey, the dawn of Pac-Man, looking at single screen games, part 2, A Scroll Down Memory Lane, looking at scrolling games, and part 3D, We'll Take Your Game to Another Dimension, which, as you might have guessed, is three-dimensional games. Continue yes or no, and then the index. So insert coin, telling you a bit more about the book and how we met at King's Cross Station for a meal in August 2019, and I agreed to take over. Well, not take over, to contribute. So there's a special artwork for part 1. And then each game gets a page review. So you've got an 8-bit box art here and an 8-bit screenshot. Title barrier here is based on, again, it's based on Space Harriers and Elite's home conversions. A page number at the bottom. So this page is mine, for example. I've got the AF at the bottom. So looking at Gunfight, one of the early arcade games. Breakout, Space Invaders, Head On, Cosmic Gorilla. So each page tells you a bit about the original arcade game and how it plays. A section, the middle section here, is then trivia on other versions and follow-ups, or the company that made it. And then the final part talks about the home conversions, or indeed some of the clones that appeared for home computers. So a classic game like Pac-Man might have official ports, but then there were also numerous copies and clones. There's a long list of them here for Pac-Man. Wizard of War, great fun on the Commodore 64, of course, and even has the magic voice speech. Berserk, Carnival, a favourite of mine. Missile Command, Space Panic, Frogger, Ladybug, Centipede, an Amiga Race, a VIC-20 version highlighted there. Amidar, one of my favourites. Donkey Kong. So you can see Jerry and I shared the writing on this. Warp Warp, one I added to the book myself. Kicks or Quicks, depending on how you pronounce it. Miss Pac-Man, Burger Time, Dig Dug, Anteater, Blueprint. Interesting story behind that one, and there's a Commodore 64 version of that. Millipede, follow-up to Centipede. Pooyan, I do like Pooyan. Robotron 2084. Bagman, Baggett Man, as it was in the arcade, and then came home as Gilligan's Gold. Satan's Hollow got an official conversion from Bally on the C64. Rockola's Nibbler, one of the early Snake games. Joust, which has recently arrived for the Commodore 64. With the help of games that weren't. Donkey Kong Jr., Mr. Doe. I pronounce it Doe, some people pronounce it Do. The Pit, again, another interesting story behind that one. Pingo, Cubert, Congo Bongo, Crystal Castles, Lode Runner. So we're going through in time in alphabetical order here. Kangaroo, Mario Brothers, Crossbow, C64 version of that. Mr. Doe's Castle, Tapper, Cubert's Cubes, follow-up to Cubert, not as well known. Mr. Doe's Wild Ride, which Ocean converted and turned into Kong Strikes Back on home machines. There is an MSX version. Do Run Run, or Super Piero if you prefer. Tetris, which was a home version before it became an arcade game. Karate Champ, very inspirational game. Mikey, Bomb Jack. Chakan Pop, which is forerunner to Bubble Bobble, and there's several of the same monsters in Chakan Pop, so that's why it's important. ER Kung Fu. The Fairyland Story, again another predecessor to Bubble Bobble and Snow Brothers, that style of gameplay. Motors, a game I only discovered in MAME, but which got a good C64 version. Super Sprint, Solomon's Key, Championship Sprint, the classic Arkanoid, Bubble Bobble, Xenophobe, Arkanoid Revenge of Doe, Blasteroids. You see that's another game I did, AF at the bottom. Buta-san, known to home users as Psycho Pigs UXB, and probably more remembered for its advertising campaign from US Gold. Time Scanner, the pinball game. Hat Trick from Bally Sente. Plotting, rather obscure but still interesting to include it. Super Off-Road, brilliant racing game. Iron Man Stewart's Super Off-Road Racer, to give its full title. Puzznic, another puzzle game. Badlands, Volfied, follow-up to Kicks. Pang, I do love the C64 version of Pang on cartridge. Smash TV, another good C64 conversion. Rampart, Puzzle Bobble, which is now on the way to the C64. And now we reach part 2, a scroll down memory lane. So we're looking at scrolling games. Galaxian, Moon Crester, Rally X, Scramble, Defender, Super Cobra, which is related to Scramble, Bosconian, which was a later rival to home machines, Bosconian 88, Stargate, Gallagher, Zaxxon, Moon Patrol, Choplifter, Jungle Hunt, Gravatar. Now Gravatar is interesting because although there was an Atari version, the home version here we're talking about is Thrust, Super Zaxxon, Tutankhamun, Time Pilot, Bump and Jump, Frontline, forerunner to Commando, Xavius, Sinistar, Beware Coward. I found out some interesting stuff about that in my research. Mappy, Track and Field, Up and Down, Spy Hunter, classic on the C64. 10-Yard Fight, that's the game I wanted to include. Elevator Action, Hypersports, can't go wrong with Hypersports on the 64. Gapless, been playing that recently in the Retro League competition. Circus Charlie, cloned as Big Top Barney. The Tower of Druaga, now this is another interesting one because it's very influential on later games, especially The Legend of Zelda. The original NES game. So I thought that was important to include that, although it's less well known in the West. It did appear in our arcade. Star Force, I managed to mention Sarah Jane Avery's brilliant Neutron. Pitfall 2: The Lost Caverns, which is unusual in that the home game came first and then the Sega arcade game. Ninja-kun Majin no Boken, Pac-Land, Marble Madness, 1942, Dragon Buster, again, we're going more obscure with some of these. Namco, obviously important. And there was a MSX2 adaptation. Bank Panic came to home systems as West Bank. Shaolin's Road, Boulder Dash, which went to the arcade. Commando, famous for its Rob Hubbard soundtrack. Green Beret. I'm going to flick through a bit faster now. So we've got Paperboy Tank. Metrocross King of Boxer. Gradius, known as Nemesis. City Connection. Galavan, Peter Packrat. Ghosts and Goblins, The Legend of Cage. Ninja Jamu Gun. Terra Cresta Gauntlet. Gunsmoke. Sky Kid. I recommend the C64 game Kamikaze based on that. Jailbreak, which is terrible. Ikari Warriors. Fantasy Zone. Athena. Rampage. Wonder Boy. Slap Fight, or Olcon as it's known in some territories. Quartet. Express Raider. Renegade. Rolling Thunder. Soldier of Light. Rygar. Breakthrough. Rygar. Now it's a good example. Home versions were not particularly good, and I'd love to see someone do an enhanced arcade port of that. So we did with Commando and Ghosts and Goblins. Breakthrough. The Speed Rumbler. Lesser known Capcom game, but one I like. I played the original arcade game a lot. Shackled. Fire Trap. Zap, I think we're rather harsh on it. It's good fun. Better on the C64 with single joystick than the twin joysticks in the arcade. Action Fighter. Completely different on the home machines based on the Master System version. Some researchers would just say, oh, it's the same game, but it's not. You have to dig deeper. The arcade game is one long map. The home versions are actually closer to the Master System, where you have letters to change vehicles. Great Gurianos, or Gladiator. Double Dribble, the basketball game. Salamander. Psycho Soldier, Gauntlet 2. Jackal, Victory Road. Sidearms, 720 Degrees. One there's UK and US versions of that. Play the UK version. Kid Nicky Radical Ninja, terrible on the C64. Combat School, Waggling Game. Gryzor, Contra, Flying Shark, Bionic Commando, Darius, Rastan, Guerrilla War. APB, Carlton Handley's X and the C64 version gets highlighted there. Dragon Spirit, not so good on the 64. 1943, Karnov. SDI, Strategic Defense Initiative. Rainbow Islands, The Ninja Warriors, which triple screen in the arcade. The 16-bit versions try to emulate that widescreen look. R-Type, Gemini Wing, Double Dragon, Alien Syndrome, Wonder Boy in Monsterland. Heavy Barrel, Data East, it's the supposed prequel to Midnight Resistance. Black Tiger, Street Fighter, the original. Note that there's, again, we mentioned the UK and US versions there. Blades of Steel, released on Ultra in the US, developed by Novatrade. Rockford, Pac-Mania, Shinobi, Mr. Heli, Tiger Road, The Deep, intriguing one. That one, Woodplace's arcade game, completely different on the home systems. Sonic Boom, Vigilante, Castlevania, Bad Dudes vs Dragon Ninja, Silkworm, like the C64 version of that, Vindicators, not so good. Altered Beast, Passing Shot, P47 Thunderbolt, Tubin, particular favourite of mine, the C64 game, all in a single load. Fast action. Last Duel, Ninja Spirit, great Chris Butler conversion there. Narc, Forgotten Worlds, Cyberball, Final Blow, Scramble Spirit, Shadow Warriors, The New Zealand Story, LED Soul, rocking Tim Folling's soundtrack to that one. Atomic Roboco Kid, Dynamite Ducks, Double Dragon 2, Ghouls and Ghosts, Skull and Crossbones, Strider, Hot Rod. I did enjoy that on the C64. I remember seeing the arcade game with its 4-player controls. Crackdown, Dynasty Wars, Midnight Resistance, Dragon Breed. Some interesting graphical techniques in that and in Golden Axe. Toki, another great cartridge game on the C64. E-SWAT, Ikari Free, The Rescue, Last Battle. Odd story behind that one. It's actually Fist of the North Star game. Football Champ, World Championship Soccer, Escape from the Planet of the Robot Monsters. Talk about the Hall effect joystick in there, which is different controls. UN Squadron, Sly Spy Secret Agent, heavy multi-load on the 664, but that packs in loads of Tim and Mike Follin music. Shadow Dancer, pretty effective conversion by John Williams. Saint Dragon, Final Fight, terrible on the home systems. Alien Storm, Mercs, Thunder Jaws. I'm not picking on Domark, but that was particularly bad. Bonanza Brothers, Pit Fighter, another terrible conversion. Double Dragon 3, Street Fighter 2, and then Part 3D will take your game to another dimension. The Outrun style art there. So we start off with Night Driver, Battle Zone, Gorf with its 3D section, Tempest, Pole Position, Mad Planets. It's 3D because of the effect on the planets, of course. That became Crazy Comets and Mega Apocalypse on the C64. Exerion, I'd love to see someone try a C64 version of that. Gyrus, classic from Konami. Astron Belt, an early Laserdisc game. Dragon's Lair, of course, Software Projects took an interesting approach to that. Juno First, another shoot 'em up that I didn't discover until recently. Punch Out, Badlands. Now this is not the Atari racing game, this is the Konami Laserdisc. Hang On, Buggy Boy, superb on the C64, such good fun. Space Harrier, which of course inspired the artwork of the book. Ping Pong from Konami, good little filler on the compilation. Outrun, Wet Le Mans, Enduro Racer. Some of these show the problem with being 3D and trying to work it on an 8-bit machine. Operation Wolf, good fun with a C64 on the light gun. Super Hang On, terrible on the C64. Continental Circus, Thunderblade, Zybot, Road Wars from the Arcadia system, Road Blasters, Afterburner, Galaxy Force, Operation Thunderbolt, Power Drift, Cabal. Again, play the UK version of Cabal, not the US version. Chase HQ, Turbo Outrun, Exterminator, I do like that, it's good fun. SCI, Special Criminal Investigation, aka Chase HQ 2, although it's not actually Chase HQ 2. Hard Driving, Super Monaco GP, Line of Fire, another one that was terrible on home machines. Stun Runner, play the Atari Lynx version if you want to play any. Clax, interesting because that was developed for home systems simultaneously with the arcade release. Cisco Heat, do not play the C64 version of that. Space Gun, I do love Space Gun on the C64. Another one I've got it on cartridge and disc. G-Lock Air Battle, come up to Afterburner, and congratulations, mission accomplished, and proceed to next book. Continue, yes or no. A little bit about some personal recollections, and he's saying about doing a new version of the 8-bit book. And then we have the index, then you might find the games and the rest of the Space Heroes. So there we have a look through Arcade Imperfect. It was a real pleasure to help Jerry finish the book. It looks gorgeous, particularly with that Oli Frey cover. And at the time of recording, there are still some copies of the original batch of 250 available. If there's sufficient demand later in the year, there may be another batch printed. So if you want to find out more and order, head over to www.golembooks.co.uk. Golem coming, of course, from the C64 game Druid, where the Druid can summon up the Golem, and the logo being the Earth Golem, the Clay Golem. And thank you for watching this Scene World video. Keep tuned to the Scene World channel for more news, reviews, unboxing and interviews.